Remco Evenepoel is king again in the Vuelta a España 2023, winning his third stage in this year's edition, soloing up to the line from an escape group, celebrating in the white and blue polka dot jersey, and he added more points to the mountains classification, doing so today. And in case you're wondering, yes, the Jumbo-Visma boys, Jonas Vingegaard and Primoz Roglic, they behaved themselves today, working for American Sepp Kuss from Durango, Colorado, and that red jersey that he holds, the leader's jersey of the Vuelta a España, as we edge closer and closer on our camino towards Madrid, the final day. Sepp, in fact, he started the day 8 seconds in the lead. He now leads the overall by 17 seconds. Some dramatic moments in the final kilometer, but we'll get to that later. 178 kilometers on tap today. A rolling stage, a lot of climbs on tap. A Cat 2 climb, a Cat 1 climb, a Cat 3 climb, and then twice up this final climb, the Puerto de la Cruz de Linares. Remco helped form a group that went free with 170 kilometers to go. It was a group of 14 riders in that group, past Tour de France champion Egan Bernal, the Colombian Damiano Caruso, also riders like Nico Dens, Andreas Krohn, winner of stage 2, and of course Max Poole, a 20-year-old who we'll talk about later. Their gap grew, and it grew quickly. You could tell Jumbo-Visma wanted to play things safe today and let the escape get its freedom, while back in the back not having to worry about those bonus seconds being taken away from Sepp Kuss like it was yesterday when his teammates took him. There was a different MO today. Up front, Remco and the boys worked perfectly. It was Remco who helped whittle down the group from 15. Bernal remained, Andreas Krohn, and Damiano Caruso, Max Poole. It was a group of around 8 as we headed for the final 2 times up Linares. 8.3 kilometers, 8.6% average, and super steep percents there in some sections, 20%, 16, 15%, and cement that was graded to help cars go up on a wet day. Cyclists, well, they were going to be fighting for their space with the fans lined out on both sides. Well, we could tell the escape was going to win when they started the last 2 climbs. Remco Evenepoel with about 4 kilometers to go. He attacked free, dropping the last of escape companions, Max Poole and Damiano Caruso. They had plenty in hand, 11 minutes back to the GC group. Remco was driving it. He was solo over the top. 25 kilometers to go. At the top there, he had around about 1 minute, 30 seconds in hand. It was 20-year-old Max Poole, the British rider, who pulled him back to around almost a minute on the descent. But down in the valley, Damiano Caruso joined up with Max Poole in the gap. Well, Remco began to put more time into those guys. Remco, world time trial champion, just won the world stripes a few weeks ago in Scotland. He easily just put time into buried those guys and was riding free to the final climb up here, 8 kilometers, and it was going to be his stage win. He had 3 minutes, 30 seconds over those chasing duo, back behind 11 minutes to the group that you could tell Jumbo was circling its wagons around Sepp Kuss today. In the red jersey, their MO was to ensure that Sepp Kuss was safe today. As that group was whittled down, all that was remaining in the GC group was the 3 leaders, Sepp Kuss, Vingegaard, and Primoz Roglic, and Jan Tratnik. Robert Gesink was gone, Wilco Kilderman was gone. Those boys were up there in the valley before we got to the final climb for the GC group. Bahrain victorious. They were driving it like they did yesterday. They wanted to bust things up for a chance for Landa to leapfrog Juan Ayuso for that 4th place overall. They had Tiberi at the front. They had Walt Pools, who was just doing so much today. Even when he was dropped, he worked his way back up to the front. They had Buitrago in there, and then Landa sitting there in passenger seat, in the shotgun seat, trying to save some energy and a chance to do something on Juan Ayuso. Meanwhile, up the front, Remco Evenepoel was on his way to stage glory. Now, you may ask, why is Remco winning from an escape? He cracked on that day to Tourmalet, lost any chance of going for the GC in this year's Vuelta a España after winning the overall last year. Well, he had to go for the stage, the GC mountain points, if he wanted to secure the mountains jersey, the white jersey with blue polka dots, and he decided not to battle with the GC guys, which would help show that he was back. If he could battle Jonas Vingegaard, if he could battle Sepp Kuss, he would be back to his best, and we would all know it. But Remco went for another way around to just secure those mountain points and beat up on some escapees, and a chance to win solo here on the first time we've ever been up here on this summit finish. Now, Remco Evenepoel crossed the line, celebrated with his team. We got a close look at Remco there. And then we turned our attention to the GC battle, because back there on the road, things were changing, and they were changing fast. Bahrain's strength began to wane, and Team UAE Emirates took over for Ayuso. Ayuso wasn't going to have a bad day like he did yesterday at Angry Lou. He was there and going to defend his 4th place overall. In the final kilometer, things were tense. We were watching the victory celebrations of Remco Evenepoel, but on the road in the final 1,000 meters, on those steep ramps, before they got up here to the finish line, Ayuso and Moss took turns attacking. And then we saw Sepp Kuss marking the guys. And there on the finish line, what was surprising, Primož Roglič stayed with Sepp Kuss, and Jonas Vingegaard, well, he lost time. He lost 9 seconds, and it put the GC gap from Sepp 8 to 17 seconds. Now, was he dropped? I don't think so personally. I think he sat up a little bit under team orders to give Sepp a bit of a buffer as we're going into these final stages. Tomorrow, a flat stage. Saturday, a Liège-Bastogne-Liège stage that's up and down all day before that parade celebration stage into Madrid, another sprint stage. Now, Jonas wouldn't want to have done that, but the team had a serious talk with the riders last night. We spoke to the team staff this morning and got an idea of what was going on. The GM, Richard Plug, explained that there was a new plan in place and they weren't going to have anything like that debacle yesterday up the Angliru stage. Today, we saw Jonas Vingegaard, we saw Primož Roglič working entirely for Sepp Kuss all the way up to the finish line, and Jonas perhaps following the orders to give Sepp a little bit more of a buffer when they cross the finish line. Another thing of note here in the victory celebration, Sepp Kuss already looking more and more confident. Well, the Spanish fans are really rallying around him. They were screaming Kuss, Kuss, Kuss as he was up on the victory celebration podium, and you could tell he was enjoying the moment. I asked him in the post-stage interview if he's changing as a rider too, if he's understanding he can be more of a leader as we go towards Madrid and as we face a 2024, and I think perhaps he is, because yesterday in the winner's press conference, this morning in the mix zone when he spoke with them, and again today in the press conference in the red jersey, he seemed to talk with a lot more confidence, different than the Sepp Kuss that I've known in the past years, how he had spoken. Now he speaks with confidence, and it's a confidence gained riding in one of the prestigious leaders' jerseys of one of the 3 Grand Tours. Behind Remco Evenepoel for the stage win, it was Caruso. Andreas Krohn, the Danish rider, overtook Max Poole, the British rider, who's going to be one to watch, 20-year-old, over the next few years. And Egan Bernal, always on that comeback trail, in 7th place on the day. Now, Juan Ayuso got the best out of the GC group. In fact, he put a little bit of time into Mikel Landa after Bahrain victorious, did all the work on the day. And if we're looking at the GC now, it's Sepp Kuss, the American from Durango, Colorado, the butterfly, leading with 17 seconds over his own teammate Jonas Vingegaard. And in 3rd place, 1 minute and 8 seconds back, Primož Roglič, safely ahead of 4th place overall, Juan Ayuso, and Mikel Landa there in 5th place, 19 seconds back behind Juan Ayuso. Another day down for Sepp Kuss. Only 3 more days remain in this Grand Tour for him and a shot to win the overall. But today it's victory for Remco Evenepoel, the Belgian champion, his 3rd stage win in the 2023 Vuelta a España.